Hello, and welcome to a special episode of UAT Tech Tangents. I'm Robert Walker.
And I'm Eric.
Erik is one of our very esteemed alumni here at UAT. I'll talk a little bit more about his credentials, but we're going to have a chat with him today, get to know him a little bit better, talk about his degree and his work here at UAT, his work outside of UAT, and share what you can do to prepare yourself to be in an industry like Erik. So, Erik, um, I know all about you. I've read about you. I've done my research.
Oh,
You've
dang.
done a lot of great things. Graduated from UAT in 2010 with a
Yep.
degree in game design. And you've gone off to do maybe a few things that people will know. You Call of Duty, Avatar Way of Water, Avatar Fire and Ash. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about some things that I missed in your intro. You've obviously done gaming, you've done film. Talk about yourself.
Well, I recently also just did anybody see the Backstreet Boys Into the Millennium for the Sphere?
You did that?
Well, I did 3 songs.
Very cool. Very cool.
So it's I think it's like goddamn show me the meaning of being lonely. So like the little smoke dance, if you see that in Sphere, like that was captured at the Free Range studio, as well as like everybody, like the background with like the robots dancing.
Yeah.
And I worked on that as well too.
Yeah.
And like I can't remember what the other songs. It's like the one with like just like the shopping cart. So
Yeah.
but other than that, yeah, like so like that's like one of my other highlights.
Very cool. I mean, obviously amazing stuff from film to concerts. So when you say, your title, motion capture specialist, technical animator, when you say you've worked on, Avatar, Call of Duty, the Backstreet Boys concert, tell me what that entails.
Well, I guess like from my perspective, I'm more of a technical animator.
Yeah.
I know the industry changes, like it's term where they go like mocap specialist, performance capture technician, or performance capture specialist. Everybody's got like a keyword. At the end of the day, I'm more of a technical animator. Basically, I'm more so going to be working with some new tech and taking mocap, I guess, mocap technology into making that character move.
Very, very cool. Very cool. And, a graduate of UAT, you studied game design. What can you tell me about your time way back then?
Well, those were fun times. Like I think it was from 2006 to 2010. I just like young, naive lad, basically just trying to get into games and just basically never thought I'd get into films, but just I just love video games. Like obviously, aspiring game would be like Final Fantasy VII and Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Obviously, like the old school games from the 2000s. So I was always like wanted to get into games, and just turns out that like if you get into games, it can lead to other career paths. If you just saw like if you specialize in 3D, if there's so many other uses that it comes with, whether games, television, film, concerts, even like God, like we have like even stuff in cars now.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And so, really, I think the difference between UAT and other universities is our learning model. We have our synchronic learning method, as you know, that teaches in a variety of concepts. We have modified lectures, we have teachbacks, we have different ways that we connect in the classroom that sort of allows you to learn in a way that is conducive to your best style. Can you talk about, your time in that synchronic learning model back then and sort of how it helped you achieve to where you are?
Yeah. Actually, UAT had like a motion analysis, motion capture system.
Yeah.
So, I mean, besides the fact that it led to a career as an internship through THQ, which used to have a mocap studio in Arizona, but once I did an internship through THQ and noticed that the same software is the same thing from what THQ did because I took the mocap class back in the day, but I once I had the ability to basically like I'm gonna do my own motion captures, I'm gonna get better at this, and just kind of like got better at my animations and kind of got better at using the system because I was like I really liked mocap, so I wanted to stay in that field if possible.
That's a great concept. And I'm glad that you mentioned that because oftentimes, I know when I was in class, I sat and said, well, am I even going to do this out in the industry? College students
Yeah.
think, is this going to reflect that? And so you're saying that your experience in the project based learning here mirrored the industry that you went into.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Like slight differences. I mean, obviously, just better technologies more because it's like you work UAT had like 8 cameras, and that back in that day, whereas like obviously like Avatar is like 254,
Yeah.
Activision is like 64, free range is 48.
Wow. Yeah.
So obviously there's more camera technology, but still the fundamentals are going to be there, and that's like for anything when you start.
Excellent. I have another question about, your role and specifically like collaboration. Like obviously collaboration, critique, iteration, deadlines are intentional parts of the process. How did your time here at UAT prepare you for those sort of pillars?
Basically just introduce them to, like, I mean, like anything, you have to work with a group of people, group of students. Like you have to like if you don't know how to work with people, then that's gonna be a little bit harder. UAT at least provided, like, because I still have some good friends that I worked with. Like they're still friends to this day,
Wow.
to where we still collaborate and still do projects on various like things. Like obviously they went to different fields and not into game design, more into just either automotive or different industries and altogether. But still, just the collaborations are like, hey, how do you get this project done? So like if you don't, it's like anything. Like you got to work with the group, because you're gonna have to work with the team as well too. And so that's one thing I'd say that UAT helped with as well too.
Excellent. And speaking of that, like, collaboration, obviously you've collaborated at the highest level. How does collaboration look like? Like, what does it look like, rather, on a set like Avatar, whether it's Way of Water or recently Fire and Ash? What does collaboration look like?
So collaboration on that, okay, so that's different. Because like I would say collaboration with that is like, obviously it's like there's teams of supervisors and you just kind of follow that. But however, sometimes you're going to be requested to be on set, or you're going to have to work on set, or camera may you need to be on set because camera may need you to be on there for, like, hey, there's this issue with a thing that we need like fixed. Can you fix it right now? So you're like, okay.
Yeah.
So it. I would say with Lightstorm, it was just like tiers upon tiers upon tiers, and just obviously just kind of like, it's just like a whole like line of people that go through. But at the same time, it's just like Cameron also remembers everyone's name. I don't know how you do that with a team of 355 people or even more, but like he remembered my name, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's excellent. I mean, you obviously made that good impression just why you're, where you are and doing the great things you're doing now. So really, really cool. And, another concept at UAT that I think is unique to UAT is the idea that our learning model teach students how to think and how to problem solve. So that way, when you come across a problem, you're thinking like, okay, how do I've encountered this before, maybe not this specific one, but I'm used to, okay, I need to think of something on the fly. Like they're throwing me out in the field, I need to figure this out. So how does the, teaching you how to think and problem solving area of UAT's curriculum, how did that prepare you for those kinds of
Oh, it
roles?
prepared me a lot. Like you're gonna like the industry as a whole. Like you're gonna think like everything works. It doesn't. Like everything's gonna break on you, and like troubleshoot. Like I would say, like my superpower is problem solving and troubleshooting. Like as much as the amount of talents of like animation or programming or what have you, it's also just getting things done on the fly, or just like going through various methods, thinking methods of like, I was like, it's like, why is this computer not working? Why is the system not working? Maybe it's the wire, maybe it's this, and just going through so many forms of troubleshooting. So like, yeah, problem solving is a skill.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that you say that because oftentimes, students, education will train you to, okay, you listen, you do this, you go in, these are the rules, you follow it, instead of saying, here are the rules, here are also some things that you can do on your end to improve them, and here's how to think outside the box. Because when you're in the industry, you can't go pick up a textbook and say, wait, page 6 said we should do this. Like some things change. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, or just like I've been to so many times on set where it's just like you just go in, just like everything's working, and it stopped working. Just it stopped, and it's like, okay, what's wrong? Just like everything's on fire. This is on fire. This is having this do this, and this, and just like, oh god. And just
Yeah.
I've done my mini scrambles at Lightstorm and Activision. So
Yeah. Can you think about a time in your, UAT undergrad career where something stopped working and that was like, okay, I need to fix this, or something just didn't work when you were working on a project?
I guess it actually was like probably doing some, like my own mocap, which was just I kind of set it. I think or no, it was Motion Builder. It was my first time trying to get better at Motion Builder, so I was like I was able to export it, and I couldn't figure out how to, as dumb as it sounds, to get the data onto the character. And I followed like every tutorial because during those times, like there's no YouTube tutorial where they would just say like, oh, you need to hit a button. It's like it was just like here's a thing, and you have to hit buttons, and hopefully it worked. And how I kind of navigate is like obviously troubleshooting a lot of things, and then trying to do my best on forums, and then I just figured out. And the funny thing is like this was for a frog, mocap frog.
Yeah.
So that I was trying to get up and running, and I literally just problem solved it. Just realized like there was like a setting in Mobu that's basically said like import, and I was like, I wonder if I did that, and then that's what it did.
Nice. Yeah, I love that. So working through those things, and that's wild. About thinking about a time when you couldn't get on YouTube or ask
Yeah.
Chat GPT,
Oh yeah.
"Can you fix this for me?" Yeah,
Yeah. Everything is just pretending is just like go, and you're like fly baby bird.
yeah, exactly. So when you think back to your UAT experience, reflecting back, if you had to sum it up into 3 words, maybe 3 adjectives, what would they be?
um, I guess like for me as far as just like sorry if I don't have
No,
don't
that's
have any.
okay. No, you can think about it.
Yeah, like I guess the 3 words is very helpful.
Yeah,
I know that was only 2 words, but the point is that it was informative, helpful, and I guess challenging as well too.
yeah. Excellent. And talk about that challenging part because, oftentimes everyone, focuses in on, hey, this is glamorous. Like you've worked on the sets of Avatar, you've worked on Call of Duty. I mean, these are dream jobs, but there's the challenging part in that too. So can you talk about, your challenging times at UAT and then how those challenges have led to your success?
Obviously, just trying to under like anything when you're learning something new, just like trying to understand. Like there's like certain materials like I'm not the like I found out through UAT I was not the best artist. I was better on the technical side than I was on the artist side, and there was more things to do to learn in game design. Whether like I mean at that time we didn't have Unreal or Unity, so we had Torque.
Wow.
So it was not a fun experience. And so it's like so there was like classes where you're just trying your best and you're just dreading because you're just like I don't know how I'm gonna get through this, or I'm doing great in Maya but now I have to learn like UV maps, and then just like you're gonna hit those points where you're like blockers, and where you're just gonna have to just kind of do your best to kind of go through, and it's like anything. You like when you start, you're gonna try to figure out like the industry is very versatile for your skills, but I would say it's just like it's more so you're just gonna have to like I guess I'm sorry if I'm mumbling on this, but
It's okay.
it's the you're everything's gonna be challenging, so you're gonna have to go through like an obstacle, and just like anything, even in the industry, it's like you're going to be presented an obstacle and you're just going to have to figure it out. And same thing with like in any of the classes of what you're learning, whether it be like, oh, I want to learn art, or I want to learn like programming, or this like I understand it up until this section.
Yeah.
And but that's the whole point, because once you learn those fundamentals, those will transfer over.
Yeah, well said, well said. And they obviously transferred over to you. I mean, you're doing great things. What's one common or many common misconceptions about, game design or the industry, sort of what you do that students may have that could clear up? Obviously some of it is the glamour part of like, it's going to be challenging. You're not going to be walking in and saying, I'm on the set. It's like, no, you're actually working. But what are some common misconceptions about sort of game design?
I think the idea that you're just coming up with ideas and mechanics and just kind of writing the whole thing down, because like I've never seen somebody that's like specialized that was like game design that did not know how to code.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to learn all the technical aspects of what makes a game. You can't be the idea man. You can't just be like, oh, I learned Unreal, I know so and so. It's like, no, you're gonna have to be a programmer. You're gonna have to be an animator. You're gonna have to be an artist, because you're gonna need to know the full fundamentals of the engine you're working with. to have an understanding of like how the game's going to work. Like the best way I could say is like with Sony Santa Monica for like God of War, how they were able to make that game and why Corey Balrog did it was because he worked on every aspect of Sony Santa Monica's engine and just knew it in and out and knew how to basically be like, at this point, our budget will be this for this because it can only handle this for this. Because you can be like, I have an idea, and it's like, and Stuart says it's like we can add a jump mechanic, and sometimes the engineers will be like, no, we can't do the jump mechanic because the jump mechanic does this and it does this, and only two it can freeze up the game. And because you're on the internet, like there's a lot of things that you need to know the ins and outs of your own engine that you're working with, which I know everybody's using Unreal, and there's enough tutorials. But however, it's like, okay, because you have an idea, you're gonna have to sometimes scale down.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I think that, especially with a degree at UAT, the interplay between the courses and degrees. I know we recently had a student that graduated with a degree in game design, game art and animation, and game programming, like the full gaming suite.
Oh dang!
And so, that I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that interplay and having the skills, I think, would make for someone who can go out in the industry and really thrive like you.
Yep.
Yeah. And then what should students be doing right now? We may have some students or some aspiring game designers, game artists, motion illustrators, pick the title. What should they be doing right now to succeed in the industry?
Start working. Like I know it's like like you're like, what do you mean by that? It's like if you have an idea, do it. Don't sit, don't procrastinate on it. Just do it, because the only way you're gonna get in the industry is by constantly showing work. Is the more work you show, whether it's like my line of code, whether it's my art, whether it's my animation, whether it's my my video game, because like you're only gonna get better the more you do it, and that's just how everything works in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, very well said. Let's talk about this guy. I love it. I think this is on your shirt too, right?
Oh yeah, it's like
I love this. Tell that story.
Okay, so this, if you don't know, if you haven't watched like Avatar 1 or 2 or 3, it is a Ecron, even though the marketing material calls it a Banshee. It is actually an Ecron. That's what they call it in the films. When Neytiri calls it, and that's what Cameron will say was what it's called, and he will yell at you if you say it's a Banshee. But it's an Ecron. And if you go to Disney World, they have a whole line of these toys, and it's just basically a puppet. And he fell. But I can kind of get him moving. But yeah, this is like set on my desk for Call of Duty and the like Avatar for 2021.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I've seen the movies and I love these things. I'm like, I want to ride one. Well, excellent. So if you haven't seen Avatar Fire and Ash, you should. We have an amazing alumni, Erik, who has been working on that, been working in the industry, doing great things. Just like, our Ecron, right?
Yeah, Ecron, yep.
We want to see everyone soar high and do great things. So if you want to learn more about UAT, fly on over to uat.edu and learn more about our programs.